So what we have here is a list of different movies, and we've kind of grouped it, I guess sorted it, not really sorted, but at least we've grouped it by director. In other words, we'll see like Alfred Hitchcock, like a group of that, then you'll see Chip Rose, and you'll see Alfred again, but you'll see these different groups. And what I want to, and we sorted it that way or grouped it that way for whatever reason, all right? What I want to be able to do is color code this so where when it's, let's say, the Alfred group here, these first two will be, let's say, green, and then when it switches over to to the next, whoever the next one is, when it's different, we want that one, let's say, to turn yellow. And then when this one ends and goes back to another director, then we want it to go back to green, back to yellow, back to green, back to yellow, back to green, and then all this will be yellow, all this will be green. Pretty cool thing. Now when we put together the formula that we have to do in conditional formatting, that is going to be a little tricky to formulate to make it know to do what I just described. So what we need to do is create a helper field, okay, over in column H, okay, over here, where it will show when it goes from one group to another, it will change in a numbering type system, all right? And you'll see when we do this, but basically when we get that, it'll end up giving us like the formula will give us like a 0, 0 for the two Alfreds, and then a 1, 1 for Chip Rose, and then a 0, 0, 0 for the three Alfreds, a 1 for the other for Bernard there, a 0 for Bill, a 1 for Brian, a 0 for Clive, and then 3 1s for Danny, and so forth. And then we will use that to tell it that for the zeros, we want those to be, let's say, green, and for the ones, we want those to be, let's say, yellow. All right, so if it sounds kind of complicated, watch what I do here. And if you find that when I get done, you say, wow, that would be really cool for blah, blah that I'm doing at work, then, you know, go for it. If not, you might say, Chip, I'll never do anything like this, and you can just forget about it. But at least get an idea of how to do this, because this is really getting out on the edge of what you can do with conditional formatting. And again, we have to bring in that additional, what we call a helper field, to make this work. So here's how this works. So initially what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to H2, and we're going to put in this formula that's going to give us this these helper numbers that will be used to do the conditional formatting with. Now, it's a pretty long formula. It's a simple formula, but it's pretty long, and it's able to then detect when it switches from one person to another as far as the director goes. So the way we would do this is we would put in equal, all right, and that's going to be MOD, and then a left parenthesis, an IF, left parenthesis, ROW, and then left right parenthesis. All right, so it almost kind of looks like when we were doing that alternating coloring earlier. It has that beginning part at least. All right, so we're up to the row left, right. Now we're going to do equal to, all right, and then a comma, and then a 0, then a comma, and then an if, and then a left parenthesis. We're going to say B2, B2 equals B1. And then we're going to do a comma. Then we're going to do an H1, comma, and then H1 plus 1. All right? Close off the parenthesis a couple times. Comma, 2, parenthesis. All right? I know it's pretty wild looking. All right, so you enter that in. There we go. Now, I'll take that, I'm going to copy it all the way down. So I'll just double click it. So you can actually see what happens. So for the two Alfreds, 2 zeros. When it switches to chip rows, the 2 ones. Got the 3 Alfreds, 3 zeros, and so forth. Pretty cool. So now we can base our conditional formatting on that number in column H. And we can say if it's 0, we want it to be one color. If it's a 1, we want it to be another color. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and select the area. Now I don't want to go all the way across. I don't want to color this part. I'll leave that alone. And what you could do too with this column H, you could hide that if you wanted to, later on, so it's not showing, and that way it looks like you're just working all kinds of magic here. So I messed up there. So go across like that, and then you go all the way down. We don't have too much there. Okay, so now we'll go back and bring this back to the top there. Okay, so now we're going to go back into conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula, and now the formula, we'll do the one for the ones first. So we'll just go ahead and do a formula. We're going to do an equal, and we're going to say dollar symbol H2 equals 1. If that happens, then we want that to be filling it up with a light yellow. And that's it. Hit OK on that. Hit OK again. There we go. Look what it did. Pretty cool for all the ones. Now, we'll go back in there again. New rule. Use a formula. Now, in this one, we're going to say equal dollar symbol H2 equals 0. All right, and if that is the case, then we want that to be, let's say, a light green. And hit OK. So now we've got that. Now that's pretty cool. So that gives us a nice little back and forth with the coloring. It shows us where it switches from one to another director, as you can see here. So hopefully that's a pretty good thing. As I said earlier, you can go to column H here, right-click it, and hit hide, and hide that so nobody sees it, and it looks like you came up with this miracle thing. But it's really a good little tool. It's stretching the limits, but it works. So hopefully you can use this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.